we're already in the full swing into September with the new Stellar Crown set dropping literally in a matter of days. Today, we're going to be seeing what's going on in the market for the Sword and Shield era. We'll be looking at all the Sword and Shield era booster boxes today and seeing what's been going on over here in the UK regarding these booster boxes. And we'll see what's been going on because Sword and Shield has had this boom. A lot of those booster boxes started to go out of stock and up in price. What has been going on? Have they sold? Are they dropping? Are they continuing to go up? Is now a good time to get them? Well, we're going to answer all those questions today. So let's jump in. Alright, we're starting things off, of course, with Sword and Shield base set. What has been going on with the base set booster box? Over the past 3 months, this has been climbing, actually, by about 4.5%. Not bad. So again, that steady growth, which is what is expected. This is still one of the most expensive booster boxes in the era, mainly because of how old it is. So we can see here, actually, we've got the 3-month snapshot. So we've got the highest sold price, 390, which is kind of wild. And then the low value of 287. So this gives us an idea of what has been going on with this booster box. We go back over the last 6 months. We've been seeing it steadily climb, gaining value. It's a set which I'm yet to get. You know, it's this and Rebel Clash are literally the only 2 sets that I need to have at least one of each of all of the Sword and Shield era booster boxes, but they're just super pricey. But yeah, we can see that. So over the past 6 months, this has been going up, which is pretty impressive. 13.5% on the year. Overall, it did a really good bounce back. It was actually falling and it has bounced back very well. I mean, it had fallen around about 7-8% and then bounced back very, very good. So really interesting one there. Over here in the UK, we've been seeing one here recently sold for about 240, maybe 250 if you included the postage for a Sword and Shield era booster box, which, you know, is not too bad. I think they're actually quite tricky to get hold of. There isn't that many around. So we've got some here that came over from the US, paying a lot more for these booster boxes. But like I say, they're quite hard to get hold of here in the UK. So, and for a good price. I mean, this one here, 185, that's a very, very good price. But yeah, it is tricky. It's getting harder and harder to get hold of. Rebel Clash, Rebel Trash up next. Well, not so trash. It is climbing. It's up by about 2.5% over the past 3 months. It's getting a little bit of steady growth coming in. But it is down on the 6 month. But in the past year, pretty stable, really. We were looking at the highest sale price last year. So it was a year snapshot. $250 and about $190. So this one is a lot cheaper than the Sword and Shield base. But still, one of the worst sets in the era and doing very well. It is holding, right? Could you imagine buying this when it first came out and you'd be thinking, this is a terrible set, but it's doing really well. You know, it's done well. It's not growing. It hasn't really grown over the past year though. But, you know, I think it has a low ceiling for this because of how poor this set is. We saw it with like Steam Siege and Crimson Invasion. Kind of feel like Rebel Clash is probably not one to get. But it is, you know, holding its value. So over here in the UK again, Rebel Clash, like Sword and Shield base, is quite tricky to get hold of. It's just hard, right? It is just tough to find them, and for a good price. One here sold for 164, 170 with postage. So, you know, you're looking for just under £200 a booster box. But yeah, they're really tough to find these days. Lots of loose pack, ton of loose packs. ETBs as well, ton of them. But, you know, we can see about £220 here for a Rebel Clash box. That's a huge difference, almost from the US. Like I said, really tough to get hold of. I probably wouldn't get them for an investing standpoint, but for a collection standpoint, worth getting. Dance Ablaze, arguably one of the worst sets in the Sword and Shield era. Pretty poor, really. You know, no real value in opening it up, but there is a value in keeping it sealed. So over the past 3 months, we've seen it been climbing 5.67%. That's pretty good. Over the past 6 months, however, 2.5%. So it did drop, but it's actually ticking up. And on the past year, it's pretty stable. Pretty much what it was a year ago. This is $153. We can see over the past year, we've had the highest sale price at $180. And the lowest at $115 with 252 sold. So quite a lot sold actually for Dance Ablaze. Not really a big mover. So let's take a look what we got here. So we got one here sold for 110. So that one's relatively cheap there, to be honest. That's actually pretty decent. Then we got 135. Does come with a little display case. That's why it's a little bit more. But 140 with postage. We got one here, 120. Not with any, you know, casing, and that comes with postage. 120 with postage, roughly 125, 120 with a case. So yeah, you can get a Dance Ablaze pretty cheap, to be honest. You know, not great set. I probably, again, wouldn't really bother going for this set, but it is actually cheap. Then we have Vivid Voltage coming in. I mean, you know, it has a place in my heart. I I have one box of this left. I sold a load of them. I used to have loads of Vivid Voyage. Then we're looking at, 138, and it has gone up slightly, over the last 3 months by about 2-3%. Over the past 6 months, gone up by about 1%. But it is still, again, like Dance Ablaze, pretty stagnant over the past year. We can see the year snapshot. So we've got $200 there, and then we got the lowest at 110. So, yeah, this it's kind of, it's a bit poor. It's just like Dance Ablaze. You got the Rainbow Chonkachu, so you do have something like a really big chase card. But that's it. That's pretty much the set, which is a shame. But I do like the set, though. So prices over here in the UK, we've got 135 with postage, 113. That's relatively cheap. I remember at one point paying like 170 for a box. That was crazy. Then here we got 140. We got one here for 145, including a case. So when obviously all the cases are going to make it more expensive. But yeah, about 130, 120. So anywhere between, I would say, 120 and 130 a box is where you're seeing with Vivid Voyage. Again, not doing great. Isn't really got much with a collection. If you want to grab one, now's a good time. It's relatively cheap. Next up, Battle Styles. Now, I've been going on about Battle Styles. I like Battle Styles. It's the first master set I did when coming back to the hobby. And for me, Battle Styles is fantastic. It's got the alt arts, the first set to introduce the alt arts. It's got the Sleeping Trentar, some real big chase cards in it, to be honest, I think. And the set always got bad rep. It really, really did. Terrible pull rates. At the time, everyone was like going crazy for Chill and Rain when that got shown. And then on top of that, you had Evolving Skies afterwards. So looking back at Battle Styles, it wasn't the best. But let's see what's been going on. It's dropped 5% over the past 3 months. So it has been going down, sitting at 131. Over the last 6 months, it's up 20%. So it is doing very well over the past 6 months. Over the past year, 17% increase. That's actually good for a set that is deemed a poor set. It is doing well. I think it's going to have a low ceiling, kind of like Rebel Clash. So, I mean, if you're picking these up for that 130 mark, maybe expect this to have a limit of like $200, maybe $250 a push. I don't really see this going absolutely crazy. But yeah, I think this one could do well. You could still pick this up, even though it has gone up over the past year and 6 months. It's still relatively cheap. I mean, you can see the highest sale price of 154, and then you got the lowest at 88. So you can still find relatively good bargains, I guess, with Battle Styles. Over here in the UK, Battle Styles, super cheap. You can pick this up 105 there, 98. Wow, this is absolutely incredible. Like, that's actually insane. 106. So you can pick up for less than £110 a box. Definitely worth getting, I think. Even from an investing standpoint, like I say, even if the ceiling is like £200, you doubled your money, pretty much. So that's actually pretty good. Chill and Rain, Chilling Pain. Let's see what's been going on. So obviously when Chill and Rain sold out, it went crazy. It really went crazy. Even over here, it went crazy. We saw booster boxes go from, 130, 140 a box to bang, 200. And it just went crazy, crazy stuff. And it's such a good set. There's so many alt arts. It's just so good, right? Looking over here, we're looking at about 11.5% drop over the last 3 months. So it has been falling. So it went from 230 down to 200. Over the past 6 months, it's still up 9%. So, if you bought it 6 months ago, you're doing relatively well. And over the past year, it's gone up 34%. So if you bought it a year ago, or if you bought it, back when it was $90 a box, you're doing very well. Where is the ceiling on Chilling Rain? I think the ceiling is going to be much higher on Chilling Rain than some of the other sets that we've already talked about. In fact, I think it's going to be higher than all of the sets that we just talked about. I even think it's going to overtake Sword and Shield base. I think it will. It will take time, and I think that's something that we got to look at, but it will take time. And, yes, we've been seeing over the past few months, it has fallen, 11, 12%, and it's settling. The market's settling. It had that big boom, and now it's starting to sell, and it will just then slowly, go up in value. We're looking at the high sale value there, 240, lowest at 180, well, roughly around 180. So, we're looking at one that has dropped, but still pretty expensive. So Chill and Rain booster boxes over here. We had one here sold for basically £200. 186, that's not too bad. That's really good. 145 with £12 postage. That's a really good price. 140, again, that's pretty much, I think it's from the same seller. 200, 200, 200. So we're looking around about 200. So it's a little bit more expensive once you change it over to US. It is more expensive over here than it is in the US. But still, you could find the odd bargain here and there, which is good. We've got one in the case there for 210. So yeah, around about £200 is about right. Again, Where do I see it growing? I do think it's going to be, you know, $300, $400. I think it's going to go up, you know. So from an invest standpoint, even at £200, I think it's okay. It is a much higher risk. It is more expensive, but still an interesting one to think about. Then we got the big daddy Evolving Skies coming in. Let's see what's been going on with this. This is interesting. So it's dropped 2.62% over the past 3 months. Over the past 6 months, it has gone up to 3% basically. Over the past year, it's gone up 60%. So obviously, if you bought it a year ago, you're laughing. However, not much has been going on with Evolving Skies booster boxes. Now, you may be saying to me, is it too late? You know, is it too late? Am I going to make any gains if I buy an Evolving Skies booster box now at $700 a box? The answer to that is yes. I do genuinely believe that you will make some gains in the future regarding Evolving Skies. Don't forget, there was a super amount of hype for this set. You know, when this set went all the way up to basically $700 a box, people were going crazy for it. It was just a frenzy, right? I think now you're going to start seeing things cooling off, which is what you've been seeing over the past 3 months. And I think that's basically what's going to be happening in the future as well. But it is going to steadily climb, like we've seen with all the Sun and Moon era sets. So this is like not a team up level, but this is going to be eventually $1,000 a box. Even if you look at the sales, right? Highest sale price, $1,000. And then one sold at $378. So the prices range massively from this set. It is absolutely crazy. So over here in the UK, we got £600 there for, you know, a one in a case. 600, 500, so £100 difference, and that comes with a case. This is what I mean, the prices really do vary. 600 without a case. We got 450. There you go, 450, and that one didn't even have a case. But you know, that's insane. You know, don't want that one sold for 575. That's not a sealed booster box. So yeah, you know, 580. We've got here, that's half booster boxes. That one, don't know how much that one sold for. 625. Guys, the prices, they really do vary. Like 665 of a case, right? So there you go, prime example, right? You got 665 of a case here, right? And which was the one we saw not too long ago? One with a case. It sold for like, without a case, right? 450. But there's one even with a case, you know, that we saw 500. So that's £160, 150, £160 difference for the exact same thing. Crazy. So yes, the prices really do vary. I think if you're picking one up for like £500 a box, I think you're going to do well. It is pricey. High risk, very high risk with Evolving Skies. Just because of the required entry point price. It's just so high. But I do think it's still got that potential to grow to $1,000 a box. And it has that potential. But just that price swings, even right now, it's crazy. Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike's an interesting one because I think that was the first one, obviously apart from Evolving Skies, but that went out of the Pokemon Center and things went crazy. I believe it's still available over here in the UK on the Pokemon Center website at like $145 a box. I know, it's crazy. It's weird. But we're looking at this, $215 has dropped by 8% or just over 8% in the past 3 months. Over the past 6 months, it has overall dropped, which is kind of interesting. But of course, over the past year, it went up by 50%. We saw that boom. And now, as you can see, it has been dropping, look, you know, around that 250 mark and is now fallen to 215. Higher sale price at 330, lowest at 128. Really interesting. You know, Fusion Strike, like Chilling Reign, in my opinion, will be up there as one of the best sets in the era and will do very, very well moving down the line, right? I do expect it to go up. You know, overtake Sword and Shield base. You know, the ceiling is much higher with Fusion Strike, like Chilling Reign. Again, a little bit more high risk because of the price, but I think overall it's going to do very well. So Fusion Strike over here, we're looking at 150. Like I say, you can get it on the Pokemon Center website. 165. We got a sealed case here, sold for 800. 150 a box. So yeah, Fusion Strike is relatively cheap, 150. So yeah, overall 155. So you look at a Fusion Strike, pretty good, and I think it's a no-brainer. It's such a good one to get. If you don't have it yet, pick one up. It's going to go crazy otherwise. And yeah, I think it has a high ceiling. I think it will be one of the best sets in the era to get. Time will tell. Onto the trainer gallery sets, we've got Brilliant Stars. This one's always been like somewhat pricey. We're looking around about 185. So over the past 3 months, it's dropped around about 3%. Over the past 6 months, it's gone up 14.5%, which is pretty good overall over the past 6 months. And over the past year, it's gone up 26%. Like I say, Brilliant Star's always been expensive. It's always around about that 140 mark for the longest time. It's kind of weird. And then it went up, because it's no longer available on the Pokemon Center website. So the jump wasn't as big as the others, but it's kind of like at that same level, right? We're looking around that nearly $200 mark for Brilliant Stars. Brilliant Stars is an insanely stacked set. It's just incredible. $200 for the high sale price and $120 for the low. So yeah, this is going to be a really, really interesting one. Over here in the UK, let's see if we can find 150, 152. That's pretty decent. We've got some ETPs there. Don't know how much I went. 133. So yeah, I think we're looking around about 150 a box on average, which is about right. Even the half booster boxes are going for 75, and then 155 there. So yeah, we're looking, around about 150 a box for Brilliant Stars. Again, I think it's very good. One of the best trainer gallery sets that you can get. High ceiling. It's going to do very well in the future because people absolutely love this set. It's got Charizard. It's got just so much stuff. So much stuff. We've got Astral Radiance, which is one of the weaker, trainer gallery sets. 168. So over the past 3 months, it has dropped by about 6%. Over the past 6 months, it went up by 16%. And then over the past year, it went up 18%. So again, like Brilliant Stars, it has gone up now as our print. We've seen already with a lot of booster boxes, especially trainer gallery sets going up. And, this was kind of interesting though, because you're looking around about 195 with the highest sale price, and then 108, so huge margin there. In my opinion, I think Astral Radiance has a lower ceiling than some of the other sets, but definitely higher than the earlier Sword and Shield, right? So if we look at Battle Stars and earlier, I think Astral Radiance is better than all of those, but I do think that this one's going to be lower than something like Chilling Rain or Fusion Strike, but still one to not miss out on. Over here in the UK, we've been seeing booster boxes 130. So they have been dropping actually a little bit because they did go up a little bit. 130 a box, 130. Yeah, it's around about £130 a box. It's about right. Still under retail, which is actually pretty good, even though it is sold out. So yeah, now's a really good time to pick up Astral Radiance. A lot of the prices have started to sell and started to pull back a little bit. So now's a pretty good time to try and pick up these missing boxes that you might not have. And Astral Radiance is definitely one to get. Next up, Lost Origin. Like Fusion Strike, there was a lot of buzz around Lost Origin, especially when it went out. It went out over here in the UK, I think, first. I remember, buying it for 130 a box, and then within 2 weeks, it went from 130 to like 200. And I was like, what the hell's going on? What's happened? And then I found out it was sold on the Pokemon Center website, and prices went through the roof. And we're looking now at 211. It did go up actually over the past 3 months, only by a little bit, 1.5%. Over the past 6 months, 22% increase. Over the past year, a 60% increase. This one really did boom. This is, in my opinion, one of the best sets in the Sword and Shield era alongside Evolving Skies, Chilling Rain and Fusion Strike. I kind of feel like those four are like the best ones to get. This one is really good. $211 is not bad. We've had a high sale price of $250 with a low price of $110. Again, big margin swings. But to be fair, this is a good one. It really is good. Lost Origin with the Giratina as well is just been an absolute juggernaut. It's been an absolute powerhouse. So Lost Origin over here, £200. It's about right. Like I said, 225, 225, all the same seller. 200. So yeah, you're looking around about 200 to maybe 220 a booster box. So it is on that higher price point compared to some of the others that we've seen. I do think the ceiling is high for this one. Of course, with the cost, the risk is also high, but I do think that Lost Origin has a much higher ceiling than some of the others. And you're looking at that Chilling Rain Fusion Strike level, which is going to be very good. So you've got to keep that in mind. But yeah, Lost Origin I think is going to be very, very good. It's going to take some time to climb out from that 200. It's been sat at 200 now for quite some time. Like I said, it did jump very quickly, but then it's been sat at 200 and hasn't really moved. So, you'll give it some more time. Maybe over a few years, we're going to start to see Lost Origin slowly trickle up and reach high value. And then finally we have a Silver Tempest to finish stuff off. The last of the Sword and Shield and the last of the Trainer Gallery. 161 a box. It has fallen a little bit, right? At 3.5% fall in the last 3 months. Over the past 6 months, it did go up 17% or 17.5%. And over the past year, went up nearly 30%. So again, similar story to the others. It is slightly cheaper. 161. It hasn't reached that Brilliant Stars level or Lost Origin level. It obviously is the newest one. Apart from the Lugia, the set's kind of weak. But it's Trainer Gallery, right? It's going to do pretty well, and I think it will do well. I think the ceiling on this one, kind of like Astral Radiance, is going to be lower than Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, and Chillin' and so on. But it's still good. It's still better than Battle Styles and earlier sets. So it is, has that potential, is good, has that potential that you can still pick it up. Over here in the UK, we're looking at about 140, 150 there, 145, 143. So between 140 and 150 a box is about right for this, which is fair enough, right? It's no longer available on Pokemon Center website. It's pretty much the same price as the Pokemon Center website. So yeah, it is slightly more expensive than Astral Radiance, and not quite as expensive as Chin and Rain and Lost Origin and the like. So yeah, around that retail price is pretty decent. So there you have it, guys. That's what's been going on regarding booster boxes right now in the Sword and Shield era. If I'm being honest, now's a great time. If you're missing certain boxes, certain sets, it's just such a good time to pick them up right now. They're starting to cool off. A lot of these boxes have stopped going insanely high in price. They kind of reached their high point at the moment and have started to sell, which makes it a very good time to pick these up. Of course, we've seen crazy price swings when it comes to things like the Golden Skies booster box. That just went absolutely mental. But yeah, moving away from stuff like that, looking at things like Silver Tempest, Astral Radiance, I mean, especially here in the UK, Fusion Strike, some really, really good ones. And of course, you've got to give it some time. I would probably avoid things like Vivid Voyage, Dance Ablaze, those earlier sets. They're kind of poor. Battle Styles are still okay. You can pick up for £100 a box. A Sword and Shield era box for £100. Honestly, you can't go wrong. It's so good. So yeah, right now, Sword and Shield, I think now's a good time. Everyone's so hyper-focused on everything that's been going on with Scarlet and Violet that it's given time and chance for the prices to cool off a bit with Sword and Shield, which is a good time. If you made this fun of the video and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button and make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. Let me know your thoughts about the market right now regarding the Sword and Shield era booster boxes. Is there any that you still want to pick up? I mean, for me, Rebel Clash and Sword and Shield base, they're not the best, but those are the ones I don't have. So I'd be nice to get them just to finish my collection. But apart from that, as an investing standpoint, Fusion Strike over here in the UK, massive home run, and £100 a box for Battle Styles, I might have to pick some up. I don't have the 6 that I normally go for, so now might be a really good time. That was interesting. I didn't expect it to be that cheap. That's it for me, guys, in today's video. If you watch more Pokemon content, make sure to click the video on the screen or hit that subscribe button. And as always, you guys are legends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.